Hey guys, this is Steve from Financial Python. Wanted to put together a hopefully quick video on how we would parse trending tickers from Reddit, trending stock tickers. And what we're going to do is use the Python package called PRAW, which is the Python Reddit API wrapper. I'm not going to go too deep into Reddit. I know you guys know what that is, but here, as an example, here's a hot post on Wall Street Bets New talking about Bed Bath & Beyond. We would want to get this ticker BBBY from we would want our script to pull in that record from the post. So in order to do that, again, we're going to use PRAW. If I go to this Reddit instance, that's what we're going to do. Essentially, what we have to do is create an instance of Reddit and then pull in those submissions. So to do that, first, I put this URL here. As you can see, I've already created a PRAW app, but what we would do is go to this URL, scroll down to the bottom where it's ask if you're a developer. We're going to create an application. You can just call it whatever. I'll just call it FP. We're going to leave it as web app. I'll say demo. And I'm just going to put in my website URL as the about URL and the redirect URL. And then upon creating, you see, so this value here that we get is the client's ID, and this one is the client secret. Going back to the PRAW documentation, you see we need the client ID, the client secret, the password, which is just our Reddit password, the user agent, which is just any sort of unique identifying string to describe this program. Could just be in the same name as the app, whatever you want to do, and username, which is just going to be my Reddit username. So again, I've already connected this. I'm going to just blank out the credentials, and then I'm going to remove this. But you can see the first step in creating the script. So I have Colab open. That's where we'll do the script today. So we would have to potentially install PRAW because, Colab doesn't come with this preloaded and your computer won't either. So we'll have to just install this package and then we can import it and create our Reddit instance. And then I can just print that just to confirm that I have a Reddit instance, which I do. Great, so I'm just going to delete this so I don't have to keep blocking it out. Obviously, you guys know that Colab will keep that. So after I have a Reddit instance, what I can do is move that down and create a subreddit instance. So if you go to the PRAW documentation, you can see that there is a class called subreddit. And to get one of those, we just do reddit.subreddit. Oh, not submitted, subreddit. I'll just copy paste. And I can put in the name of the subreddit that would want to parse. In this case, Wall Street Bets New is what I meant. So let's run that. We'll print out the subreddit just to make sure it's an instance of subreddit. It is. That is good news. Okay, and then what we can do the same way as when you go into a subreddit, you can sort by hot, new, top. You can do the same thing actually when you're querying, and you can specify how many records that you want to query, and they're going to go into this object called submissions, which is would be an instance of the PRAW submission class, which you can read about in the documentation as well. So we'll do subreddit.hot. Again, we can sort, and we'll say limit of 10. Limit equals 10. Cool. We got these submissions, so we can say for submission and submissions. And we can print just the title, submission.title. And again, if you go to the PRAW documentation, which I'll link, it'll tell you, the submission class gives you all the attributes that you can pull from. So if we loop through that, we see we have the titles of these posts. So we saw the BBBY one. We see that here as well. So that's good, along with some other posts about HUBC. Not sure what that is. But I guess something that's pumping today. So that's what we would want at the end. The end result of this is just going to be a list of tickers that we believe are trending, and then we can do whatever we want with those in our script. So to determine that, what we have to do is loop. So we're already doing that here, but aside from just looping through the submissions, we want to take each word in the submission. So I'm going to actually create a list called word collection. I'm going to loop through the submissions. And I'm going to split the title into a list of words called submission.title.split. I'm going to put that into the word collection. Word collection dot extend. We'll say extend title words. And then I should be able to just print the word collection. Okay, so we see what we did. We took each of the title, we broke it down into a list of words, and then we put that entire list basically into another list called word collection. So this way we can iterate over each word and try to figure out whether or not it's a ticker. So we'll start an iteration for word in word collection, and a few things we need to do to figure out whether or not it's a ticker. Eventually what we're going to do is put it into this list called potential. We'll just say, I don't know, potential tickers. But yeah, a few things that we need to do. Just looking at some of the words, we see we have some emoji, some punctuation, some stuff that's lowercase, so we know that's not a word, some stuff that contains numbers, we know that's not going to be a ticker. So we want to clean up each word to try to figure out, again, to give us a better chance of determining, yes, this is a ticker, or no, it is not. So I'm going to actually create another method. Let me do it. I'm going to get rid of that. And let me create another method here, just called remove punctuation, I guess. Remove punctuation. So Python has a class called string that we're going to import. And you know what? I'm actually going to print string.punctuation, so you can see the module punctuation for the string class, which is basically just a list of all the different types of punctuation. So essentially what this method's going to do, it's going to take in a word, it's going to break it into characters, check each character, make sure it's not punctuation, and then put that letter into a list, and then join that list back together into a word that contains a punctuation. So we'll say like list no punct equals, as I mentioned, it equals the character for the character in the word if character is not in string dot punctuation, right? And then if it's not, we'll say no punct word, whatever, equals we'll join a blank string with the characters that would be in this list. Let's run that. Character if char is not, oh, that's not supposed to be an is, or is not. I meant just character not in. Okay. And also I do want to return this anyway, so that's good. So we have this method, but as you can see, the print and the punctuation just prints out all these things here. We also want to remove any emojis, so we can do that with the regular expressions package. We can base it on the Unicode characters of emojis, which I just have a method for that already, so I'm just going to paste that in. That'll be in the gist that I include with this, so you can just grab it from there if you want. I also want to check if each word contains a number, because in that case it's probably not a ticker either. Examples might be like someone writes like 0DT, like 0 days to expiration. Yeah, I don't really know what else. It could be Q4, something like that. Like we want to ignore all of that as well. Anything if it just has a number, we want to ignore that as well. So I'll just create another method called contains number. We'll pass in the word. And same thing, we're going to loop through each character, and we're going to say if char.isDigit, which is a built-in Python method, and I'm going to return true, that this is, this does contain a number. I don't need an else. Return false. I'm going to return false if I get through the whole word and it does not contain a number. So essentially, yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take for the word in the word collection, I'm going to say word equals remove punctuation word. And I think I can just copy copy this a couple of times because then I'm going to say equals remove emoji. And oh yeah, that's just a boolean, so I don't need to do it there. So instead, what I'm just going to do is say if word, if not contains number word, I'm going to add to this list of potential tickers. Tickers dot append word. Okay, so we're saying if we're going to remove the punctuation, remove the emoji, make sure it does not contain a number, and then add it to this list. And then after that, we'll just print the list. Why is that wrong? Contain. Oh, I used the wrong case there. Whoops. Okay. Okay, so you see now, we're helping our list out a little bit where we've gotten rid of punctuation, anything with numbers, but we don't want anything blank in there. Good to know. Okay, I mean, there's many things obviously we don't want in here, and one thing that we do want to note, we can kind of take a look at what's in the list, or just we have a general idea of how Reddit users typically chat. We know that a stock is typically going to be uppercase, like they're gonna, the ticker is gonna be uppercased. So that's something else we can add in as well. We can just check word dot is upper, which is just a built-in Python function. We can use this to help determine whether or not it's a ticker. So I'll click play on that. Okay, and you can see what that did was narrow down our list pretty substantially, which is great. And but what we are left with is really, I think, just two tickers, BBVY and HUBC, which does appear twice. But there's always going to be like these words like I and A and VWAP and like a whole bunch of other things that are going to be listed that we know are not tickers. So instead of what we eventually want to do, obviously, is like take these and maybe do a query against Y Finance to figure out if something's returned, if they're actually stocks or not. But before we waste extra resources doing that query, we could tell some of them just by using some like a list that's, let's say we'll call it known not stocks. Like for instance, we know that I is not a stock. We know that A is not a stock. We know that VWAP is not. Obviously, there's plenty of other things, and I have a huge list of things that I'm kind of maintaining. But we can also check that as well. And word not in known not. Oops, I'm just gonna copy paste because I always do this. Okay, let's check this. All right, so you can see I've obviously pulled out a good amount of things, and we have our list of potential tickers, which is good. So that's good. And obviously what we did here was just do this on one subreddit, grabbing 10 posts and only grabbing the title. As I mentioned, if we go through PRAW and we see the subreddit class, which is, the submission class. Let me search for that. Actually, just so I can show you. Yeah, get to the submission class, and you see, we have all this other stuff that we can check as well. Like we only check the title, but you see we have, how am I looking at this? Could I not, I don't want this to be highlighted. I don't know why it is, but anyway, we see that, we can also check the self text, which is what the body is. So obviously we can check the body, see if there's any tickers in there. And we can also loop through comments as we see here. So, with the submission comes an array of comments, and to look at it, we literally just, we can loop through the comments, really just, as we're looping through the submission, we can say, for a comment in submission.comments, and then we're going to be, loop through comments and add to words. As you can see, obviously this can get insanely large. So, yeah, so I am going to just leave it at that. But one more thing we are able to do, that or just some things I want to point out is that we only did an example checking one subreddit, but the idea of really how you want to do this is maintain some sort of list that's like subreddits, we'll say, and you can have Wall Street Bets, Wall Street Bets New, stocks, whatever you want to do, SPACs, investing. Like, it doesn't have to be just YOLO type subreddits. And the idea is we would want to loop through those, for sub and subreddits, and that's what we would use instead of just you hard coding Wall Street Bets New. We can just pass in that sub name, loop through all the subs, take down as many posts as we want. In this case, we just did 10, but you're able to do 1,000 if you want to. My professionally running scripts, they have they're obviously very large, but it takes up a lot of time and resources. So whatever you need in your program, up to you. But you can loop through a whole bunch of subreddits, loop through thousands of posts, get their titles, get their get their bodies, get their comments, and then from there, you are going to be left with an array of potentially tickers that you can, again, what you probably should do at that point is see which ones are appearing the most. Like in this case, I would want to check HUBC because it appears twice, nothing else appears twice. That might be something that I look at and say, okay, that's definitely trending. But with thousands of posts, you might have to set some sort of limit that says, something like, I only want to see whatever words or whatever potential symbols come 50 times. You consider that a trend. Obviously up to you, whatever you want to do, your call, but again, not the goal here to tell you what to do, just to give you an idea of how you might get stocks from Reddit. So I'll attach a gist here that'll have it'll be a little more in depth, but didn't want to make this video too long. So hope you guys learned something. Appreciate you stopping by. Thank you.